I think we're live. Hello, everyone out there on the internet land, and welcome to another post-show breakdown here at BC WrestlePod. And thank you for joining us for another episode of NXTilosos, the weekly NXT post-show breakdown here. Of course, my name is Mikey. I am El Jefe of BC WrestlePod. And as you can see, it's just me tonight and my laggy internet. So this is going to be a very fun one, which is always not a fun one, honestly. But yeah, so we're going to wait until I restabilize because that's going to be fun. Okay, there we go. Alrighty. So tonight I am here to break down the February 3rd edition of NXT, which was a lot of interesting moving parts. Of course, we are in the midst of another reset and a rebrand as certain stars have now moved on up to the main roster. And now we got to establish where we're going with some of our stories in these divisions. So I'm not going to bore you. This is going to be a relatively short one since it is just me. But before we get into all of that, YouTube, Twitch, and Kick is where you can find all of our lives as well as on YouTube for the edited reviews. We have social media at BC WrestlePod, where you guys can find us for the report cards and the previews of the weekly shows and everything, which is going to be fantastic. And on top of that, you are also going to be finding some other stuff as well. Merchandise at our shop, bcwrestlepodshop.fourthwall.com. And on top of that, we also have a coffee bot where if you want to help us pay for these streaming services and these pay-per-views out here, please be our guest, but no pressure. Alrighty, well, with that out of the way, let's just jump straight into it. So we kicked NXT off of this particular week with some breaking news. It is officially made that Shawn Michaels has appointed Robert Stone as our interim GM for NXT. This is on the backs of our former general manager, Ava. Her contract came up in WWE and she decided not to renew it. So, therefore, Robert Stone is our interim NXT GM. And we're going to see that Robert Stone is kind of, we're going to give him some time because so he tends to be pushed over a lot. But that is his character here in NXT. But apparently, Shawn Michaels also doesn't pay attention to what he's doing with the Diamond Collective over in TNA and how his personality is over there. But I digress. So, Robert Stone, this is his first show for his tenure as interim general manager of NXT. And let's just get into how his first show went. So we officially get things started with our opening match here. This is a triple threat for the NXT Women's North American Championship. This is the champion, Izzy Dame, taking on the challengers of former NXT Women's North American Champion, Thea Hale. And of course, you know, the Latina with all the power from Miami in Lola Vice. As much as I was excited for this match, I kind of figured that Izzy wasn't going to lose here because of another particular person who's been running around with Izzy over the last couple of weeks, which I'm going to talk about at the very end of this match. I thought this match was very solid. I think this was a smart way to open up the show where you have your women's mid-card championship in NXT open up the show, and it's a triple threat, so essentially anything goes, no DQs, nothing of that sort, no way to get disqualified, which is interesting because we play hard and fast with the triple threat rules, but I am not the person in charge of the booking, and that is the rules that were set before us. I say that this match was good, but not great because my only critique that I have about this match is I'm noticing a trend when it comes to certain women's matches in NXT where we are moving from spot to spot, which is not necessarily a bad thing. Because this is professional wrestling entertainment, you have to entertain the crowd and you have to pick your spots and you go from spot to spot. But I think the problem that I'm having is that some of the in-ring psychology, and this is just me, it kind of feels that it's not necessarily being taken care of. The women in this match in particular are going from spot to spot, but there doesn't seem to be a lot of selling, which is fine. Sometimes the no sell spots and not selling is great, but in a triple threat where anything goes, you kinda have to make the moves devastating because one of the big rules, at least of how I see professional wrestling can sometimes be improv, where it's yes and. So you got to make your scene partner look credible by selling for them. But it seems that they are moving from spot to spot without really taking the chance to breathe and sell. But other than that, it didn't really take away too much of my enjoyment of this match. It's just something that I'm noticing, especially with our women's matches here in NXT. We would have a bit of an interference from Miss Kalani Jordan as she cost Lola Vice the match, which Izzy Dame takes advantage of, and she ends up retaining her championship here. We are on the collision course for Izzy and Tatum for this championship. I still feel a little weird how the story is progressing with this, with the fact that Izzy cost Tatum her NXT Women's Championship. Tatum technically wins the revenge match. And now we're going to continue to run Izzy and Tatum again, where Izzy taking the Women's North American Championship would be cool, but I'm a little trepidatious when it comes to that, given of how short Tatum's NXT Women's Championship reign was when she got the title off of JC. We're going to talk about JC a little bit later in the show, so I'm going to put a pin in that. But overall, solid match. I wish the women would sell more. And I'm really hoping that we kind of move away from going from spot to spot and not having moments for the match to breathe, but still a solid bout to open up the show. After this particular match, we head backstage where once again Zarya and Sol Ruka are not on the same page. Zarya confronts Sol about being in the Royal Rumble and not telling her. And Sol says that tonight they're here to win the TNA Knockouts Tag Team Champions, and she's going to win them for herself. And that makes Zarya a little upset. We're going to put a pin into our favorite couple, and we're going to talk about them during the match because it seems I think we are officially having a direction of where we're going as to Zarya and Sol kind of finally breaking up, and that feud is going to start at some point. After that, though, backstage, we see that Lexis King, the craziest painted beard of all professional wrestling, and Stacks, the current TNA International Champion, have some words with Chase U, specifically Uriah Connors, telling him that he needs to, go along with his birthright because of who his family is in the wrestling world. And this we get a tag team match made later in the show between Chase U and Lexus and Stacks. I'm gonna talk more about it because I don't like this group. I don't like this story, but you know what? It is what it is, and we're gonna talk more about my frustrations with this after the match itself. From here, we get a promo from Mr. Tony D'Angelo after weeks of attacking folks on the NXT roster and being escorted by security and essentially arrested and thrown into jail, only to be bailed out by Ava. Tony finally addresses as to what he is doing and why he is here. So, this is going to be interesting for sure. And my biggest issue, well, okay, I'm going to say my issues. I'm going to start with the positives, right? So the positives is I am glad that Tony D'Angelo finally allows us and he lets us in with his promo as to why he is here and why he's been doing what he's doing. But then he told us, and I'm a little perplexed because he's been attacking everybody but who he was attending to. So Tony's promo can be boiled down to two things here, right? So the first thing Tony D'Angelo stated that Dark State took everything from him, so he is going to dismantle Dark State and take everybody out one by one. And then the second one is that once he's done dismantling Dark State, he will let us know what his next goal is. And so that is how the promo went. So Tony is going to be taking on Dark State. I don't know if this means Tony is going to run the gauntlet and he's going to take out the members of Dark State one by one, or if he's going to get some backup. But I'm here for it, but it's really weird because Tony was taken off television. We don't know what happened to Tony. That was never really addressed. And now Tony's motivation here is that he's disheveled, he's distraught, he is a man with nothing to lose, and so he wants to dismantle Dark State. Anybody who has watched our post-show breakdown of NXT knows that I'm not the biggest fan of Dark State. I don't know, and they keep trying, and the way that they're presenting Dark State is that they are a faction that is running roughshod in NXT. I'm like, have several seats with all of that. It is crazy out here. But I'm happy that Tony is finally answering why he's here. We're going to see Tony wrestle probably at some point in the next couple of weeks. Again, we either are going to go one by one through Dark State or run the gauntlet and have Tony face all four. Excuse me, in a gauntlet match style. But, at least we're putting wheels to Tony, and now it's not just him showing up, not talking, beating up wrestlers. And tune as stay tuned as we continue to look at this developing story. Moving on. So we have another men's speed championship tournament to determine the number one contender who's going to face Jasper Troy here in a couple of weeks. And so tonight's matches saw, of course, our newest NXT star, Elio LaFleur, take on Charlie Dempsey in a speed match. It was a speed match, so it was really quick. Elio LaFleur wins. He's either going to be facing either Eli Knight or Josh Briggs in the finals to see. And then that winner will go on to face Jasper Troy for the Speed Championship. I don't really have too much to say. It's a speed match. It is 3 minutes. Try to get everything that you can, and Elio moves on to the next round. Let me tell you, outside of our main event, I think this is one of my other favorite matches of the entire night. So this is the TNA Knockouts Tag Team Championship match. The challengers are Zaruka, so Zarya and Sol Ruka, taking on the current TNA Knockouts Tag Team Champions in the Elegance brand, being represented by Heather by Elegance and M by Elegance, also known as Maggie Lee. This was a really solid match. Of course, we had Miss Daria Ray, our new co-general manager of TNA, with Santino Marella in the audience, which is cool to see. This match was really, really fun for two different reasons. Number one, the Elegance girls looked really good, and so did the Zaruka girls. All four women actually did amazing, and this was a match that perfectly exemplified what I had an issue with the opening match of the Women's North American Triple Threat, and is that this match had spots, but we also had time to breathe. We sold moves. We did some really great stuff. So that was one of the reasons why I really liked this match. The second reason why I like this match too is because of the consequences of the story that we've been playing at with Sol and Zarya for the last couple of months, and everything just imploded in this match. From Zarya not tagging Sol in, wanting to win the championships by herself, to Sol Ruka accidentally hitting a Soul Snatcher on Zarya, it just fell apart for the Zaruka girls, which would allow the Elegance brand to capitalize on the disjointed and miscommunication and allow them to retain the TNA Knockouts Tag Team Championships. So we are in some hot water with Sol and Zarya, as these girls are not on the same page. The relationship is at its breaking point, and we would see that no better than what happens next. But these pictures explain the downfall of the Zaruka. Is distraught after hitting a Soul Snatcher, and the Elegance brand capitalized by picking up the win here. Yeah, Zaruka, this was a big hit to their relationship. So after that amazing match, we had this where we had Lexus and Stax take on and beat Chase U. And I was just like, all right, well, thing that happened today, and that was on my television screen as I was watching this last night. And it is what it is. I'm just like saying this, you know what I mean? But whatever, it is what it is. Anywho. But the important thing that happens out of here is after the match, Andre Chase and Chase U are together. Uriah Connors just looks like he's over it. And Uriah leaves Chase U and heads to the back with Stax and Lexus King. So, well, very interested to see what is happening. And yeah, I don't really care for this faction with Lexus and Stax and this birthright. I mean, they were also trying to recruit Charlie Dempsey in all of this mess. We need to workshop the name, but at least we're developing some stories now that we have a reset among us. But this is one of the stories I'm not really caring about at the moment. Now, let's talk about this because this is an extension of what happened during the TNA Knockouts Tag Team Championships. Fatal Influence come out. JC Jane talks about her being in the Rumble. Zarya comes out and she is tired of waiting. She wants to face JC for the title. But then we had Ren QCC, like Kendall Gray and Ryan Sinclair, make their stake to the claim. So Ruka comes out and, also is here as well. And our general manager, or at least our interim general manager of the night, or at least until further notice, Robert Stone makes a match official next week where it will be a number one contenders tag team match. It will be Zaruka, so Zol Ruka and Zarya versus Ren QCC, which is Ren Sinclair and Kendall Gray. And the winner of the match, or whoever gets the pinfall in the tag team match, will become number one contender to the NXT Women's Championship. So it's whoever gets the pin in the tag team match will become number one contender for the title, for JC's title, I should say. I'm very interested of how that's going to work, but again, we're trying different things and we're going to see what happens with all of this. So we're either going to see Ren Sinclair, Kendall Gray, Zarya, or Sol Ruka go on to face JC. And what I'm assuming is probably going to be Vengeance Day. I'm not even going front. And rumor reports is saying that Vengeance Day is going to happen at the Performance Center. So because we're in a reset, we're not traveling for our PLEs for NXT quite yet. But the first one will probably be happening at Vegas for Stand and Deliver in April. So I'm very interested to see who ends up walking out as number one contender and when we're getting that match. So we're going to see all that next week. Speaking of next week, this is a preview of the matches that we have solidified for next week. Again, like I mentioned, we have a tag team match of Zarya and Sol Ruka versus Ren Sinclair and Kendall Gray. The winner of the pinfall will become number one contender for the NXT Women's Championship. And we're also getting Jada Parker versus Blake Monroe next week. And I'm like, okay. I thought we would build this up more, but hey, you know what? It is what it is. Main event time. We had a 7-person ladder match for the vacant NXT the NXT Championship, my bad. And our participants as follows. From left to right, we have Keanu Carver, Joe Hendry, Dion Lennox, Sean Legacy, Shiloh Hill, Ricky Saints, and the current WWE Evolve Men's Champion in Jackson Drake. I had a blast with this. I was a little worried because I was just like, this is a lot of people. Usually ladder matches, we only have 6 individuals, sometimes 7, but 6 is usually the limit. But we had 7 individuals. We had a ladder match inside the tiny performance center of it all. But this was really great. Keanu Carver went on a tear. He had some great spots and he was selling for folks and he just looked like an absolute powerhouse. And that's, as someone who's been kind of watching Evolve, and let me rephrase. As someone who is starting to watch Evolve, thanks to the advice of another content creator on here, I actually really do like how we're building Keanu Carver. You know, I said some comments a couple weeks ago because I hadn't watched Evolve, but I went back and watched a couple of episodes, and also our host who does watch Evolve and does the report cards for them, did give me some info. And you know what? I'm kind of here for Keanu. I need to see a little bit more from him, but I'm really digging with the direction we're heading in so far. So he was great, but Ricky Saints and Joe Hendry also kind of carrying this match for everyone was great. Shiloh Hill having a really fun spot. Jackson Drake ping-ponging across the screen a lot between people was fantastic. But we would get to the ultimate ladder match bingo card move of the seesaw effect. We had Ricky Saints and Joe Hendry going back and forth with the one strap in hand. And by the end of it, the winner and your new NXT champion, to my pleasant surprise, is Mr. Joe Hendry. Joe Hendry is the new NXT champion. I'm not going to lie. I thought this match was going to have Ricky get the championship, but also looking at who our current champions are in terms of NXT, our women's champion is a heel. Our North American champion, women's North American champion, and men's champion is a heel. And yeah, so we kind of need a face champion, and Joe Hendry is our face champion for the time being. So Joe Hendry celebrates. I'm very interested to see where his championship reign goes here. And I have to listen. Anybody who's been following us here at BC WrestlePod knows how much myself and even Papa Oso, we both love Joe Hendry. We've been here since the Joya days in TNA when he was teaming with Yuya Uemura. And he has gotten over with the catchy theme song, and he has stayed over because people love him and his meme-ness. So congratulations to Joe Hendry. He is our new NXT champion. But yeah, this was really fun to watch, and I know Papa also was super happy, and so was our other NXT co-host Kilt. Very excited to see where Joe Hendry's title run goes. But that is going to be it for us here at NXT. This is a bit of a short review because it is just me tonight. But do not touch that dial because I will be back later tonight at 8 p.m. Pacific as I will be shifting gears from NXT to the heart of Arena Mexico as I am going to be talking about some CMLL wrestling. So some good lucha libre goodness. We had some folks from Ring of Honor and AEW popping up in this past Friday show, and myself and our virtual co-host Agent Lo-Fi. We will be talking about all the lucha libre goodness. But that is going to be it from here tonight. We have a jam-packed week still coming up. Like I said, we got CMLL at 8 p.m. Pacific tonight. On Friday, we have our TNA Post-Show Breakdown. And then on Saturday, I will be here to do a live watch-along for MLW's Battle Riot 8, where Mads Kruger will be putting his title on the line against 39 other individuals. And who will walk out as our new MLW World Heavyweight Champion? Well, you're going to have to tune in Saturday to find out. But from all of us here at BC WrestlePod to you at home, remember to take care of yourself, love one another, stay iconic, and more importantly than anything, you always deserve to finish your story. We will see you later tonight for CMLL. But until then, sayonara, adios, and until next time, from all of us here to you at home.